Hello and welcome to Miniature Realms, and welcome to another Epic Battles ACW project vlog number 9. I know a few of you have been waiting for this. Thanks for the messages and comments on other videos and things as well. So I continue to plod along, doing little bits of the troops and things, but also cheering myself up because it is a bit of a slog. I'm definitely not painting them anywhere near as quick as some of the guys that are putting out large armies already on the groups and things, so I'm a little bit jealous of that. I think it's partly because I'm doing some other projects, partly because of other commitments and things as well, and because it's quite a slog painting. If I've been painting all day for work, which is what I do, it's sometimes quite hard to kind of motivate myself to do that. And also in the UK we have a TV drama called In the Line of Duty, which is just finished, or Line of Duty, and the wife and I never watched any of it, but there was so much hype around it we decided to start watching it. Of course there's 6 series, so I've been a little bit distracted by watching almost an episode of that each evening. Anyway, completely unrelated, but it keeps the wife happy. I'm spending time with her rather than tucked away in my office all day. So let's talk about a little bit what I've done since we last spoke, well, since I last spoke to you over a vlog. I've received a small order from Peter Pig, so those of you who have seen the unboxings on the channel will have seen the unboxing I did of the Peter Pig Generals, and a little bit of discussion around scale and things. I don't want to cover that too much now. If you look back to the previous vlog videos, you can see how well they scale with the epic stuff. You can see that me talk about that a little bit on or quite a lot actually, on the review. And I'm not going to do a big unboxing and review. I just want to show you what I've bought. Well, I received these last week actually, and I thought I could do another unboxing, but I'm not sure doing another unboxing of almost identical miniatures is really going to interest people too much. But I thought I will cover them in a vlog and we'll see how we go anyway. But basically what I bought was some more generals and a few extra bits as well. So beforehand I bought a few character generals and I wasn't sure whether I'd use them as those characters so such and such. But at the moment, for this little pack here, I've picked up generals that I know that will fit into the Antietam campaign for me. And a few little extras, so there will be more that I'll go back and get at a different time. But I thought if I pick up all the ones that I'm likely to need as brigade and divisional commanders and things potentially for Antietam, then I can always see what I'm going to convert myself out of the plastic ones, out of the extra metals that I've bought as well, out of the duplicates. I think that, you know, obviously Wave 3 will see a metal Robert E. Lee and a metal Meade, and I've already painted the resin ones. I'm not painting a different pose for them, not in this scale, that's ridiculous, so I'm going to convert them to something else. And I've actually bought a second set of each of those as well on pre-order. So again, the idea, I like the sculpts. Yes, they're more expensive, but I like the quality of the sculpts. I can do some conversions and just make them into other either generic or other characters, add a bit of green stuff beard here or there, etc, etc. You get the idea. But so I ordered a few more bits, and I wish I added a few more bits in there since then as well, but I'll cover that in a second. So I ordered a John Bell hood, which is, oh, God knows, I'm probably not going to go through all these packs like that. I think that's no, that's not John Bell hood. It'd be a silly way of doing it, but I've picked up John Bell hood, Jubal Early, D.H. Hill, McClellan, and then I've picked up some sort of general things, and I didn't see these when I first looked. I didn't realise when I was looking at the generals there were some more generalised packs, and you can pick up a set of Confederate ADC and standards for generals, mounted officers, and you get the same for Union, and there's also a pack of sort of divisional corps generals. So they're basically catch-alls, and they're just as good as the rest of the stuff that I looked at before on the previous review. Really happy with them. Feel I'm building up a bit of a kind of a good collection for variety. I may find I end up with leftover plastic commanders from Warlords, which isn't a bad place to be. To be honest, I'd rather have more than I need. So and I think that's DH here in that one, etc, etc. 154, that's McClellan in there. If anyone wants to see these closer, do put in the comments and maybe I'll get them out and I'll put them in another video, but I just didn't want to do an identical unboxing. So there's a pack of 4 there. So pack 52 is the Confederate mounted officers. So they're just general mounted officers, but really, really useful for brigade commanders, for maybe the odd mounted colonel or something, just for some variety. But I feel like I've got a lot of variety of officers now. Some of them the official models, in terms of them being McClellan, etc. And I think they're good enough sculpts. I'll use them as those. If not, I'll use them as something else. Anyway, that's it. This isn't an unboxing, and I'm showing you stuff still sealed in its packets. If there's a great desire, if there's enough comments that people really want to see specific models, let me know, and I will get them out of the packet, and then I'll show them on the next vlog or something. But I just feel that, as I've already done an unboxing of Peter Pig Generals, and I didn't want to sort of repeat that on the channel anyway. And then the other thing, so those of you who remember on the last vlog, I had a lovely gift from Ralph Astley of the 3D printed Dunkers Church for Antietam, and I've painted it. I've been looking very much at terrain, planning forward for the game I want to play, and so I thought, well, it's a bit of a terrain themed week, at least in terms of me not painting troops. So let's have a go. Let's have a little look. So it didn't take me too long. It took me about an hour to paint this, to be honest with you. Painting terrain is relatively quick. I don't know if it's going to stay on this, so it's probably going to embarrass me and fall off now with a big thud. It's fairly solid. I have glued the roof on it. It was removable, but I don't think I'll ever need it removable. And it's pretty good. It wasn't a perfect print. I mean, Ralph said that when he sent it to me, but it does the job for me. I looked at some pictures. I don't know how accurate the colours are. These are the colours the building is painted now, apart from the doors, I believe, on the building now. The inner panels are white. I just thought, I did that first and it just didn't look very good, to be honest with you. And then you look at the black and white pictures for the era, and you obviously can't tell what colour the doors are. I may have been able to find a description of it, a written description of what colour it was. It didn't come up very quickly in a search, so I just thought, I like the green. There's a good chance that whatever Heritage is looking after that battlefield, that they would have repainted it in the colours for the time. Maybe, I don't know. I'm making an assumption of the way we do things in the UK with heritage sites. They may well be different, different rules, different countries and things. But I'm quite pleased with the way it came out. So it was prime black. And then pretty heavy zenithal all over grey, almost completely covering it, and then white at the sides. So that was all airbrushed. Then I actually used the contrast apothecary white, kind of washed all the white down, and that's where you get your kind of shading, because what that colour does essentially is shade your white for you. Little dry brush over the top. And then painted in the green using Dark Angel's contrast green as well, for all the shutters and the doors and things. That was flat on there. I did do a quick dry brush. I think it was model colour uniform green, off the top of my head. I'm too far from reaching it without knocking the camera flying at the moment, but I'm pretty sure it was. It's irrelevant really. It was just a lighter shade of green for a very quick dry brush. But most of the effect afterwards is pigments, so weathering powders brushed in. The step and the little bit around the bottom, I did use which one have I used? Might have been Skeleton Horde as well, contrast, just to give it that slightly darker stone colour. But yeah, it came out all right, to be honest with you. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks really good on the table. So I just have some weathering powders and things in. And then I think it's just camo green contrast, just painted some streaks and staining as if there was moss growth and things. I don't know how accurate that would have been, but I quite like them to look like they're within their environment. Cut off some tufts at the end, a little bit of Leo European mud, thick mud splotches around the bottom, just so it blends in and matches the basing that I've been doing on the models. I think it looks great. I think it's fine. A little bit of streaking on the top. I think the roof I did with a mixture of, again, contrast, and this was over grey. I left that bit grey, but would have been contrast Black Templar, contrast Wildwood, and a little bit of the camo green as well, just to kind of paint in the streaking. Just using them as glazes really, and the fact that they kind of using them, I can wet blend them together and mix them and streak them, and it's just incredibly quick, and it just shows what you can do with those paints now. And I didn't realise till the other day that my favourite range of colours, or one of my favourite ranges, Scale 75, have got their own range of contrast style paints. I completely missed that release somehow, so I will be very tempted to pick up the entire range, because I think it's about 48 colours, which is more than GW have in their range. So if anyone has used those, let me know in the comments, get in touch, let me know what you think. But anyway, all I'm going to do now is just put a couple of images on the screen of the evolution of the gaming table really. If you'd seen the video I released just before this one, I bought a couple of Geek Villain gaming mats, the fleece ones, designed to go over terrain, so they, undulations and things, so put hills underneath, rather than flat neoprene, which is what I've been used to for some of the games I've been playing for the last few years. So I'm just going to put a couple of images on the screen as I started to play around with how the table might work out. So I'll just put a little image up of the map from the book very quickly. I don't like to reproduce these things, so hopefully the author, Brad Bukovich, won't mind me showing you this image quickly. It's there just to illustrate how brilliant his book is and how I'm using it just at the table. So as you can see, it's a 6x4 table, and you sort of fight across it long ways, and the cornfield is there, pretty central, a little bit above the 3-foot mark, northwards, so to speak. I don't know if that's north on the battle table, but you get what I mean. And it kind of gives you an idea of the kinds of fields there are. So you've got your cornfields, they're actually marked on in little green patches, and then you've got your kind of what would be your tended fields, your ploughed fields, etc, etc. I don't think that's the phrase he's used in the book, but I won't go flick back for the book right this second. And then you can see where your woods are and your roads and things, and that's the roads and the paths are something that are a bit of a head scratcher to me at the moment, and we'll come to that shortly. So here's the first image of the table as I started laying it out. So this is the summer grass map from Geek Venom. I've literally shoved on the few of the fields and things that I'd made earlier in the year, and I put in one of my early vlogs. And they looked okay, but they didn't really blend in. They stood out quite a lot. They didn't really do what I wanted to. I think I was looking at teddy bear fur in some ways for just to kind of be an alternative to the mats. What I might be, your front door mat kind of things. I thought might be too thick. It turns out that I think those things are better, as we'll come on to in a moment. So there's trees added there. Something else I've done in the last week actually is these are a cheap set of trees from China. There's 3 different colours, 20 of each. So 60 trees. I've based them all on 2Ps. I've used milliput, and I've used sort of Vallejo base effects on them. I need to add a little bit of flock on their bases as well, but they're on the table for now. So there's 60 trees on there. I've got a few more on the way, posher looking trees, shall we say, more railway style, which I will add into that. It's just to add a little bit of extra quality, but those are going to provide the bulk of what I need to represent the kind of the east woods, the west woods, etc, and the woods at the north. There's the picture from sort of top down a little bit more. So I've got this table set up in there now. If you haven't seen the recent channel update, it tells you a little bit about the changes in my workspace, and then I've got a gaming table set up. There is a little bit more space on. It looks like it's right up against the wall on one of those images. It's not. There's not much space. There's only about a foot around one of the sides, but you can get around there to game. So you can see there's a basic approximation of the map that I showed at the beginning, but I just wasn't happy with it. And then the next one has got some roads on it. So I'm going to pop a little image up now of what I've been using for roads, and this is from GameMat.eu, and they do these different road rolls. Basically, you get a 6-foot roll and a couple of little circles, sort of half circles, semicircles to cut into corners and things. And those roads are too wide, so I cut them in half to use for this scale. and I'm not a big fan of it. I've actually got some more of those on the way, because I wanted some that wasn't cut in half, including a river section, and I don't think I'll be cutting them. I'll be keeping them for larger scales, at least for the road. The river will probably work for any scale. And I don't like the way it looks, really. It looks a little bit disjointed. It's the joins that are the problem. It's fine where it is in the middle, but as soon as you've got to cut little corners and things out, I just don't like the way it looks. So I will do a full review of those when they turn up. I've done a review on my for Miniature Realm, for Out of the Frying Pan before, but I'll do another review and put it up on this channel when they arrive, because I think they're good products. But I'm increasingly thinking that they could do with a set of kind of junctions or something, so it goes together nicely, because having cut them up and things, it just looks scruffy, and I don't want it to look scruffy. I want the table to look nicer. So most of those darker coloured roads there are, as I say, game mat. There is a little lighter one at the top, and that's from Tiny War Games, but yeah, well, less said about them the better. So another image there, and you'll see I've added some different hills. I've actually did buy some. I bought another proper front door mat style thing and decided to use that as the cornfield. I really wanted a solution where the models could look like they're walking through it, but this scale is just ridiculous, and I don't know why I was ever thinking about it. So I've took a lot of the kind of the fields that I thought that were throwing it visually out and placed them on the board, and I'm starting to become much happier with this look. But again, it's the roads that are making me twitchy. So, and I haven't got a final solution for those roads as yet, but I'm not 100% happy. Whether it means I have to take these neoprene ones and actually go and do some work on them, maybe paint some edges on them and things, and actually put some flock and make them blend in a little bit better, that might work. I wanted to avoid having to build roads. I think it's a problem for wargamers unless you have a bespoke table anyway. I think they can often look as something extra to the table rather than something that's been worn into paths and things. And then I used Apple Maps and actually went to the satellite view to look what it's like currently, because from the little bit of research I've done and from watching a lot of the battlefield walks, it's remarkably unchanged. So I thought, well, let's just have a little look at what it's like. And the roads there are kind of filled in, as you can see. They're overlaid by the mapping for people for Apple, so you can see them, and the roads look pretty small, and I'm wondering the roads that are marked on the map in the game books, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe they can be more kind of dirt roads. They weren't, especially back in 1862. How big were these roads? Imagine they were just dirt tracks, and maybe, flicking back to the other image, maybe those big neoprene strips are just over representing what those roads would have been, and that's why I find them so jarring. So one of the ideas is I've got a lot more snake fencing to build. I've got a lot more coming from Sarissa Precision, and I've just placed an order with them that hasn't arrived at the time of recording this. They've just released some extra stuff to go in their 15mm North American range, as new range, and it's basically all of the stuff they've done for Warlord plus some new things, and the new stuff is all based around Antietam, funnily enough. So I bought the bundle with all of the stuff in, and the extra building, because there's one building that's not Antietam based, it's a Manassas building. So I bought the extra bundle, and you get more snake fencing in that. And I'm going to build the snake fencing slightly differently. We'll talk about that in a separate video. But if I line the roads with snake fencing, maybe if I'm basing my snake fencing, and maybe I won't need the roads, maybe they can be kind of represented by avenues of snake fencing. Because if you look at the battle map from Butkovich's book, there's snake fencing and rail fencing there. So I don't know. I've not made my mind up yet. So comments and ideas would be much appreciated. Other ideas, I could potentially purchase another identical mat, because I do want to leave one plain green, and actually just mark out where I want the roads, and then go in and airbrush ink in the with the road markings in, so they blend in. And that's something that may well become a decent idea. I mean, that would be £60 for the mat. I have the paint, and I think I could do a good job of it. as long as it doesn't run too much. I think I'd be all right if I airbrush it in. So that could be the perfect solution, is airbrushing. And I've got an Antietam mat, but it'll be marked in with a few dirt roads that could work for anything. Maybe Geek Villain will do an Antietam mat at some point. They've done a Gettysburg one, but I very much doubt if they ever did, they would zoom it into this section, which is the cornfield section. I imagine it would be an overall map and designed to be used for 6mm and 10mm and 15mm like the Gettysburg map is. So that was kind of a larger scale kind of thing. So those are my ideas at the moment, but I think I'm going to try removing these roads, putting snake fencing, which I'm going to use anyway, putting the snake fencing down and seeing how that looks. Because it just feels like it's dominated by the roads, and I didn't get that impression that it feels it's about roads. It feels like it's about fields and cornfields and woods, not about the roads. So maybe just to kind of represent it with airbrushed in browns and thin tracks and things might just work out really well. So it may be the cheapest and most cost and easiest way of doing it is, like I said, just to purchase another mat and airbrush it in. But anyway, that's pretty much it, and I've rambled on for a very long time. That's pretty much it. As you see, I've done quite a lot of stuff. What I might do is just take the camera over to the table as it's set up, pretty much in that last picture I showed you, but just show it to you live rather than just for images, just to finish off and add any final thoughts. Right, well, I'll try not to repeat myself too much, which is the danger now as I continue to talk about this table, but I thought it'd be better just to go in a little bit closer and give you some of my thoughts, and mainly talk about the roads, which is my biggest concern. I'm just not a fan of the solution of cutting these up so they fit. I'm sure in game it wouldn't move too much, and it's perfectly reasonable for gaming. But there's so many beautiful tables out there, and I've got a really gorgeous mat that I'm very happy with from Geek Villain. I've got some trees that are cheap from China, but they do the job, with a few more in as well, and I think they look really, really good for this sort of size and scale. I'm glad that I bought and decided to go back to this old standard kind of front mat for my cornfield. I think they do the job and they fit well on this mat. So the things are starting to come together from those original pictures, but the roads just make me cringe, and I feel like we're dominated by roads, and there's more to be added as well. There'd be one that goes across the top there up at the north by the edge of the table, and there's a couple more kind of little bits that I haven't been able to put on because I don't have enough, and I'm just, like I said a little bit before in the video, I'm just not happy with these. So what I plan to do, as I said, is signify the roads using the snake fencing. So these are the Sarissa ones, built as by instruction. We move around this side, make you all feel a little bit seasick with wobbly, shaky camera. You can just see here they have little square sockets where the next bit goes in, and that produces these right angles, which is fine. And I don't know what the accuracy is of right angles, or whether it's more of a subtle angle on there. But what it does do is produce a very wide fence for the road space. So when I get the new ones, I'm going to build them so they're much shallower. And not only will they fit closer to the edge of the road, but they'll also take up more space that way as well. So I will build them slightly differently. I can't remember how much is coming in the starter set. So the new, there's a bundle for the new stuff from Sarissa Precision, which I ordered as soon as it came up as pre-order. It does actually have, funnily enough, a Dunker Church in it, which I imagine will be, the pictures make it look gorgeous, but I'll imagine it will be closer to it's going to be the same scale as the other stuff we got in the box, which is brilliant, but it may not scale as well as the one that Ralph sent me there, the closer to 10mm one for this game size. I think if I was playing a smaller game with a division aside, maybe, and we based it around closer to the Dunker Church and expanded everything, then it might be perfect. So I think, like I said before, many of my reviews of those buildings, they're absolutely fantastic, but when you're playing on a 6x4 and you're trying to do a large area, the scale of the building may stick out sometimes. If you're ever playing with a bigger table, then not an issue at all. So I think I'll be using both at different times, but it may well be the one I've painted there that gets used for this particular battle. So yeah, it's the roads. anyone's got a great idea of how to kind of that I haven't mentioned, anyone's got an idea that's different of how to kind of represent them, whether they need to be represented at all. Like I said, I think they might be. They're going to be little more than dirt tracks, and these are so wide. They're wide, you know, they're as wide as one of the stands, which is probably a couple of hundred men, so they're ridiculously out of scale. So that's part of the problem as well. So I am really tempted, as I said before, to purchase another one of these mats or something very, very similar from Geeksford and Range, probably the same one actually, and then mark out where the paths are and get an airbrush and very lightly just fade in some sort of darker areas and represent them really. It'd be lovely if he produced that Gateford and decided to do an Antietam map as well, but again I think it, like I said, I think it will be scaled for the whole battle rather than just focusing on the cornfield area. But anyway, thank you very much for watching another vlog video. Hopefully you are still enjoying my ramblings and this weird project. I'm hoping that the solution, I'll have made up my mind on the solution of the table over the next month or so. It's not the priority. It's purely because I had the mats arrive and I was able to base the trees while I was watching my boys downstairs at the weekend. I had a bit of a lazy Sunday, so I was able to do the trees then, and that was the only hobby I could do. So I sat there at the dining table basing up trees that they've been done. That's why I kind of accidentally became a bit of a terrain focused week for me in terms of this planning. The most important thing is to get my miniatures painted so that I can actually play this game, and maybe find someone that actually wants to play the Antietam battle with me, because I don't even thought that far ahead really. I just wanted to focus to build the armies to. I thought the best focus would be to pick a big battle, and Antietam was my, you know, the thing that stood out to me the most. So that's why I'm doing this. It's kind of evolved into me planning a big table of how to play a game without actually thinking about, you know, who might want to go and do it with me. There are a couple of Black Powder players locally, and I know there's a couple really interested, so maybe someone like that. But we will see. It's going to be a fair few months before I'm ready to play it anyway. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. Hit the notification bell. There'll be lots and lots more videos coming. There's definitely going to be an ACW vlog, probably weekly. Other unboxings and things as well. We've got Wave 2 and 3 coming up soon, so I'll be doing lots of videos around those. And for those of you that like bolt action, there's my 8th Army project's going to have some things on it soon as well, some more painting stuff. So lots of stuff's coming for the channel. So thanks for those of you who are watching already, and I will catch you soon.